What the heck is going on? You could phrase that exact question for both the Jets and the Leafs for different reasons as they go head to head tonight. To discuss that, here's John Lewin, Winnipeg, Mark Masters in Toronto. All right, let's start with the Winnipeg Jets. 8-0 out of the gate. The NHL record for a start is 10-0. Johnny, give me the single biggest reason for those who haven't been paying close enough attention for the Jets coming out at 8-0 to start this year.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's start with continuity, Gino. And with continuity, we're going to talk about Scott Arniel. He set a record for NHL head coaches at the start of their tenure with a new team with 8 straight wins as of Saturday night beating Calgary. The thing about Scott Arniel as the associate coach over the past 2 seasons is that he was there when Rick Bowness established a defensive posture and system that made the Jets the Jennings winning team last season. So Arniel has basically just taken what the Jets have been doing the past 2 seasons, kept it in place, and enhanced it, made tweaks to the system. The players already bought in a long time ago, and so you're seeing the results of that. They already were structurally sound, and they're just continuing that. And just 8-0, maybe the record is, and the results are a little bit better than they expected, but they're certainly not going to look that gift horse in the mouth, Gino.
John, the Jets are off on a great streak to start the season. The Leafs, though, have a pretty good streak against them dating back to December 2021. Leafs have won 5 straight games against Winnipeg. The last time Winnipeg beat the Leafs, that was the night where Mark Scheifele was in a jubilant dressing room and said to his teammates, is there anything better than beating the Leafs? And since then, they haven't beat them. So, Gino, I expect this to be a fun one tonight. Both sides fired up.
Oh,
yeah, I
Mark,
think that
give
they
it to
learned
you
from that,
to
Mark.
come up with a...
There's no trash talking now, whether inadvertent or not.
I can't believe you're trying to hang on to that for the glass half full. Okay, Mark, let me just take you to the glass half empty right away. There's no more glaring contrast between these two clubs right now than the power play. Winnipeg Jets, #1 in the league, almost 44%. The Toronto Maple Leafs, 29th in the league, 10%. Cole Perfetti alone has got 3 power play goals. That's as many as the Leafs as an entire team. Mark, no one needs to tell the Leafs their power play has been brutal, and now they're shaking things up as well on that top unit.
Yeah, finally, Gino. To this point, it's really just been rotating the quarterbacks on the top unit between Morgan Rielly, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Rielly was back with the top unit for Saturday's game in Boston. Tonight, finally splitting up the core 4 forwards. So you'll have Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner sticking with that top unit with Rielly, but being joined by Matthew Knies as the nut front presence and Max Pacioretty in the middle there. I think Knies deserves this type of promotion. He's off to a great start this season. Only Nylander has more goals than him, so give him a look in front of the net there and then see if William Nylander and John Tavares can get things going on that second unit. Maybe you get some competition between these 2 units. If the top guys aren't going, you can turn to that second unit and say John Tavares, William Nylander. Those are pretty darn good options. You got Ekman-Larsson up there on the top. That's the makings of a pretty good unit. So finally, Gino, the Leafs are shaking up this power play that's been an issue, not just this season, but in the playoffs down the stretch last year. It's faded in a lot of seasons in this era. So finally, under this new coaching staff, Mark Savard, the assistant, and Craig Berube, the head coach, they're shaking things up tonight.
Johnny, tell us about that Jet power play. Why so much success on that power play?
You know what? I'm just going to pick up on what Mark was talking about with the Leafs power play, that they're trying to get more balance. Well, that's one thing that's really stood out with the power play, the Jets power play this season, is the balance. And it's just sort of happened, partly by schemes that Davis Payne, one of the new assistant coaches taking over that half of special teams, what he's done is inject a lot more movement, a lot more reads, switching. Nikolai Ehlers is on the first power play unit full-time now as opposed to being relegated to the second. He's in the bumper position, which is new to him, but there's getting results. And the thing is that even though the Jets have loaded up with their big offensive dogs on the first unit, their production between the first and second units is identical. 5 goals and 10 assists for the first and second units each. So you can't key on either the first or the second units to try to shut them down. They've been equally effective, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that Davis Payne's schemes have really been working. And so that's been a big part of the Jets' success in that unit, specifically because both sides of special teams for them last season were bottom third of the league. The power play was a drag. It was a momentum killer for them, and they couldn't do anything about it to get it going, and it was absolutely non-existent in the first round of the playoffs. So Scott Arniel taking over made it an absolute priority to improve their special teams, and you're certainly seeing it with both, although the power play more conspicuous because it is tops in the league right now, Gino.
Not surprisingly, the Jets aren't going to make any significant changes tonight, but Mark, there is a significant change for the Leafs. Not only is Nylander not on that top power play unit now, he's getting reunited with John Tavares.
Yeah, and Craig Berube had hinted at this yesterday. He said he did not think there was a lot of chemistry on that second line right now. Nylander's gone 3 straight games without a point. Berube says he senses frustration creeping in. Hard to say because we tried to talk to Nylander after the game in Boston. He wasn't made available again today, did not meet with the media, so hard to get a read on him. I got to tell you, the way that sequence happened in Boston on Saturday night where he fell just kind of untouched, lost an edge, and the Bruins go the other way on a 3-on-2 rush and score a big goal. Like, that's just so unlike Nylander, who's one of the best skaters you'll run into in the NHL. So it just feels like something's off with him right now. We'll see if reuniting with John Tavares helps him. Those guys have played together quite a bit. There's a lot of familiarity with each other, of course. And then Max Pacioretty also on that line. Berube's talking about trying to get the puck in Nylander's hands as much as possible. That's when he's at his best, and certainly with Tavares and Pacioretty, older, slower guys, you got to think Nylander's going to have the puck in his hands most of the time he's on the ice at 5-on-5 in tonight's game. So we'll see if that can spark him. They need Nylander going if they're going to get out of this rut they're in right now, and we'll see if this new look tonight helps him, Gino.
Both of you were chirping each other right off the top. Both of you made great cases for your own teams. Here's what you got now. 10 seconds each. John, you first, then Mark. Tell us how tonight's game unfolds. Johnny?
I'd say the Jets are going to continue their streak. They're going to go 9-0 and chase that league best 10 straight wins. That's my prediction.
No way, John. The Leafs are going to bounce back. That late goal in Boston gave them a little bit of a spark. They know that this is the end of the road trip. They're coming back to Toronto. They're going to get it done. Nylander is going to get on the board tonight, Gino.
All right, puck drops coming up at 7:30 Eastern. With the win, the Jets will be 1 win away from tying the NHL record, a record that is shared by the Toronto Maple Leafs. John Lou in Winnipeg, Mark Masters in Toronto. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the game. We'll talk afterwards.